Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Today we'll be studying Srimad Bhagavatam 10th Canto, Chapter 69. Sage Nārada visits Lord Krishna's palaces. Please join us for Jai Radha Madhav.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So, we will first offer Jai Radha Madhav prayers. Then Prabhuji will do the start the talk on study of Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 69.
Yes.
Alright.
Devashi Nārada visits Lord Krishna's palaces in Dvārakā, of course. explanation and the gist of this chapter. And there are very amazing lessons in this chapter. Thank you. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayanam Namaskritya
Narayanam Namaskritya
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Naram Jiva Narottamam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Tato Jayamudiriyet
Tato Jayamudiri
Shravtam Swakatha Kṛṣṇa
Shravtam Svakatha Kṛṣṇa
Punya Shavana Kirtanaha
Punya Shravana Kirtana
Hridayantasto Bhadrani
Hridantastaya Bhadrani
Vidunoti Suhasatam
Vidunoti Suhratsatam
Nashta Prayeshu Abhrateshu
Nashta Prayeshu Bhadreshu
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya
Bhagavate Uttam Shloke
Bhagavati Uttam Shloke
Bhaktir Bhavti Naishtiki.
Bhaktir Bhavti Naishtiki.
Hare Krishna. So today we'll be studying Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th Canto, Chapter 69. Sage Nārada visits Lord Krishna's palaces in Dvārakā. Hare Krishna. Please join us for the recitation of the first set of verses. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 69. Nārada visits Krishna's palaces. Text 1 through 6. Shri Shuka Uvacha Narakam Nihatam Shrutva Tatodvaham Chayoshitam Krishnane Kenam Bhavinam Taddidikshu Sma Naradaha Chitram Bate Tad Ekena Vapusha Yugapat Prathak Graheshu Dvaya Asta Sahasram Striya Eka Udavahat Ityautsuko Dvaravatim Devashim Darshatum Agamat Pushpito Pavanarama Dvijali Kulanaditam Utpulendi Varambhoja Kahalara Kumudotpalahe Churiteshu Sahashuche Kujitam Hamsa Sarasahe Prasa Laksha Navabhir Jushtam Sphati Karajatahe Mahamarat Kata Prakyah Swarna Ratna Parichad hai Vibhakta Rathya Patha Chatva Pane Shala Shobhabhi Rochiram Sulahya Samsita Magangana Viti Dehalim Patat Pataka Dhwaja Varitatpam. Shishuka Vacha, Shishukdev Goswami said, Narakam, the demon Naraka, Nihatam, killed, Shutva, hearing, Tatha, also, Udvaham, the marriage, Cha, and Yoshitam, with women, Krishnena, by Lord Krishna, Ekena, one, Bahavinam, with many, Tat, that, Didrakshuhu, wanting to see, Sma,
indeed. Naradaha, Narad. Chitram, wonderful. Bata, aha. Etat, this. Ekena, with a single. Vapusha, body. Yugpat, simultaneously. Pathak, separate. Graheshu, in residences. Dvi, 2 times. Ashta, 8. Sahasram, 1,000. Striyaha, women. Ekaha, alone. Udavahat, he married. Iti, thus. Utsukaha, eager. Dvaravatim, to Dvārakā. Deva, of the demigods. Rishi, the sage Nārad. Drashtum, to see. Agamat, came. Pushpita, flowery. Upavan, in parks. Aram, and pleasure gardens. Dvija, of birds. Ali, and bees. Kula, with flocks and swarms. Naditam, resounding. Utpulla, blooming. Indivara, with blue lotuses. Ambhoja, day-blooming lotuses. Kahalara, white esculent lotuses. Kumuda, moonlight blooming lotuses. Utpalahe, and water lilies. Churiteshu, filled. Sarashu, within lakes. Uchchahe, loudly. Kujitam, filled with the calling. Hamsa, by swans. Sarasah, and cranes. Prasad, with palaces. Lakshah, hundreds of thousands. Navabhi, 9. Jushtam, adorn. Sphatic, made of crystal glass. Rajatah, and silver. Maha Markat, with great emeralds. Prakyah, splendorous. Swarna, of gold. Ratna, and jewels. Parichadah, whose furnishings. Vibhakta, systematically divided. Ratya, with main avenues. Patha, roads. Chatvara, intersections. Aparneha, and marketplaces. Shala Sabhabhi, with assembly houses. Ruchiram, charming. Sura, of the demigods. Alayah, with temples. Samsikta, sprinkled with water. Marga, whose roads. Angana, courtyards. Vithi, commercial streets. Dehalim, and patios. Patat, flying. Pataka, with banners. Dvaja, by the flagpoles. Varit, warded off. Atapam, the heat of the sun. Translation by the disciples of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Shukdev Goswami said, hearing that Lord Krishna had killed Narakasura and had alone married many brides, Nārada Muni desired to see the Lord in this situation. He thought, it is quite amazing that in a single body, Lord Krishna simultaneously married 16,000 women, each in a separate palace. Thus, the sage of the demigods eagerly went to Dvārakā. The city was filled with the sounds of birds and bees flying about the parks and pleasure gardens, while its lakes crowded with blooming Indivara, Amboja, Kahalara, Kumuda and Utpala lotuses resounded with the calls of swans and cranes. Dvārakā boasted 900,000 royal palaces, all constructed with crystal and silver and splendorously decorated with huge emeralds. Inside these palaces, the furnishings were bedecked with gold and jewels. Traffic moved along a well-laid out system of boulevards, roads, intersections and marketplaces, and many assembly houses and temples of demigods graced the charming city. The roads, courtyards, commercial streets and residential patios were all sprinkled with water and shaded from the sun's heat by banners waving from flagpoles. Purport. In Kṛṣṇa, Srila Prabhupada beautifully describes the city of Dvārakā as follows. Being inquisitive as to how Krishna was managing his household affairs with so many wives, Nārada desired to see these pastimes and so set out to visit Krishna's different homes. When Nārada arrived in Dvārakā, he saw that the gardens and parks were full of various flowers of different colors and orchards that were overloaded with a variety of fruits. Beautiful birds were chirping and peacocks were delightfully crowing. There were tanks and ponds full of blue and red lotus flowers, and some of these sites were filled with varieties of lilies. The lakes were full of nice swans and cranes, whose voices resounded everywhere. In the city there were as many as 900,000 great palaces built of first-class marble, with gates and doors made of silver. The posts of the houses and palaces were bedecked with jewels such as touchstones, sapphires and emeralds, and the floors gave off a beautiful luster. The highways, lanes, streets, crossings and marketplaces were all beautifully decorated. The whole city was full of residential homes, assembly houses and temples, all of different architectural beauty. All of this made Dvārakā a glowing city. The big avenues, crossings, lanes and streets, and also the thresholds of every residential house were very clean. On both sides of every path there were bushes, and at regular intervals there were large trees that shaded the avenues so that the sunshine would not bother the passers-by. Hare Krishna. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Om Ajnana Timrandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Mukham karoti vachalam pangum langhayate girim yat kripatadham vande shigrum dinataranam. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. So as Shukdev Goswami is speaking Srimad Bhagavatam to Parikshit Maharaj, so he is. And of course, this was later on repeated by Sutta Goswami and Naimisharanya in the Assembly of Great Sages. Their spokesperson was Shaunaka Rishi. So here Shukdev Goswami, after he talked about Lord Balaram, he killed Dvivida monkey. And Dvivida monkey was killed because that monkey was, the gorilla, Dvivida gorilla, he was a friend of Bhaumasur, also known as Narakasur. Bhauma means son of Bhumi, the presiding deity of this planet Earth. So here, Devashi Narad, he became curious because right after he heard that Bhaumasura was killed, Lord Krishna married 16,100 princesses who were, captured by Bhaumasura. And he also heard the glories. So sometimes, there is a symptom that one feels great anxiety and wonder, and wonders how someone is carrying out these various activities. And especially Lord's activities are amazing. They delight the very senses. And he's feeling like he's missing out on the fun, on these amazing transcendental pastimes of Lord Shri Krishna. And as it is reflected in the translation, Devashi Narad is wondering that Lord Vasudeva, in a single body, how did he marry 16,100 princesses while he already had 8 queens? So now that is like he is married to, how many wives does he have? 16,108 wives. And in Dvārakā, how is he managing the affairs? So again, it's not in the chronological order that Shukdev Goswami, because, Dvida monkey's story came, so Shukdev Goswami remembered an amazing pastime that happened before. So this amazing pastime is covered in this chapter. So Devashi Narad, Sage Narad is in, surprise, and he wants to see. So this is the time he is entering Dvārakā. He has not entered Dvārakā till this moment. So all the events that had happened in the past that were discussed by Shukdev Goswami happened after this pastime. So chronologically it is very interesting. And Devashi Narad is amazed to see Tvashta, Vishwakarma, having created such a wonderful city in the middle of an ocean on this Anartha region. And here, of course, we talked about Revataka hill, right? That's where Divida Gorilla was killed by Lord Balaram. So that also reminded Shukdev Goswami about the Anartha region. And here, in Anartha region, the center is Dvārakā city. And this region has 800 miles in length across. So you can imagine. So sometimes people say 800 miles, what does it mean, from the circumference perspective? So that is 3,200. So it's almost like not exactly a square, but the circumference happens to be 3,200. And the coastal region is always wavy, so that, if you think it's a circle or a square, don't think in those terms. Just, in the scriptures it's given approximately, which raises some interesting points that we can discuss later if time permits. Now here, in this pastime, before we dive into this pastime, it is very interesting to see and understand from the glories of the Shastras and glories of the scriptures in the Puranas. There are some amazing stories, and Srila Prabhupada would always, remind his disciples that his spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj, always was, instructing his disciples and wondering when his disciple would rise above the mode of ignorance. Now that is amazing because, we are talking about Gaudiya Mats, and how could there be mode of ignorance? And this is very nicely depicted in this story that Srila Prabhupada and, great acharyas, they shared. So once there used to live a very nice sage, and he had one disciple. So this disciple and sage, they were living in a forest in a cave. And the sage, his spiritual master, the sage is the spiritual master of this young boy. And he gives him Bhagavad Gita. He says, read every day. So we have Bhagavad Gita, which is very much simplified by Srila Prabhupada. Right? So he gives him Bhagavad Gita. He says, read Bhagavad Gita every day. And he says, I'm going on a pilgrimage. So this is around the time of Dwapara Yuga, Kali Yuga time, when the sage has decided. So he gives his disciple Bhagavad Gita and goes on pilgrimage. And he says, recite every day, read every day. And so disciple is very obedient. He says, yes, I will read Bhagavad Gita every day. And it just so happened that every day as he's reading, he realizes that in this cave there also lives a mouse. And this mouse, not finding any other object, is actually nibbling onto the Bhagavad Gita. Right? So, if the mouse eats up Bhagavad Gita, he cannot read it. And the instruction of his spiritual master, there is only one instruction: read Bhagavad Gita every day. So he says, I have to find a solution. So he thinks about it, meditates on it, what's the solution? And he goes and gets a cat. So he gets a cat so that the cat will keep the mouse away. The mouse will not nibble on his Bhagavad Gita, so he can read Bhagavad Gita. Now the cat has its own demand. The cat is asking for milk every day, the care, right? So he is wondering how to get milk. So after some meditation, going out to get alms and get the milk is a very tedious process. So what he does is, he buys a cow. Now he has a cow which gives milk. The milk is fed to the cat so that the cat will keep the mouse away so that he can read Bhagavad Gita. Well, now the cow needs care, and it needs so much care that if he himself takes care of the cow, then there won't be any time remaining to take care of the, to read Bhagavad Gita. So he decides to employ a man who would take care of the cow, cow herding guy. So he employs a man to take care of the cow. Now, as he has employed this man, he sees that this man sometimes cuts corners. He doesn't really take care. So he has to be constantly supervised, constantly seen that he's doing the right thing or not. So the man is taking care of the cow gives the milk is fed to the cat, and the cat keeps the mouse away. So that is the gist of it. And now he says that this man is lazy and sometimes cuts corners, so I need to have a solution. But he cannot employ another man, because if he employs another man to watch this man, then that man and this man, both the servants could become a team, and he will be all alone. So he decides, what's the solution? He says, I should get married. And then my wife will watch on this man and make sure that he is not cutting corners, and that he would take care of the cow properly. The cow will give nice milk. The milk will be fed to the cat, and the cat will keep the mouse away, so I can read Bhagavad Gita. So he gets married, and he has a wife. Now, after marriage, as he has this wife, she can watch the man who's taking care of the cow. The cow gives milk. The milk is fed to the cat, and the cat keeps the mouse away, so he can read Bhagavad Gita. Now, his wife, she starts making demand of jewelry, nice silken clothes, babies, and so forth. So to satisfy her, he says, okay, I need to open a trade so that I can, make money, and from that money, I will make sure that my wife, she has nice jewelry, nice clothes, and we have babies, we have to feed them also. So that way, she will be satisfied, and she will watch on this man so that the man takes care of the cow properly. The cow gives milk, the milk is fed to the cat, and the cat will keep the mouse away. So he has this nice trade, and he has employed many people to do this stuff. And then his spiritual master, he returns from his pilgrimage, from Tirth Yatra. And he sees that his disciple has spread this long, extensive business. And he is not able to have any time. He is not reading Bhagavad Gita. He says, why are you not reading Bhagavad Gita? He says, Guru Maharaj, I did everything just so that I can read Bhagavad Gita. See, I have this nice trade so that I get enough money so that I can take care of the kids and my wife. My wife watches over this man. He takes care of the cow. The cow gives milk. The milk is fed to the cat, so that the cat will keep the mouse away. And then he says, and what about Bhagavad Gita? Well, Guru Maharaj, I'm so busy in taking care of all these affairs that there is no time left for Bhagavad Gita. And so Guru becomes upset and he leaves, right? So it is very easy for material energy to easily crouch on us unknowingly in a subtle manner. Devi hiesha gunamai mama maya duratyaya mame viye prapadyante maya metam tarantite. Lord Krishna tells this to Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita. Devi hiesha gunamai. That this material energy of mine is made up of three modes of material nature: mode of goodness, mode of passion, mode of ignorance. Sattva guna, Rajoguna, Tamoguna. Very difficult to Duratyaya, very difficult to overcome in these three modes of material. Mame viye prapadyante, but one who surrenders unto me, one who engages oneself in devotional service, can easily cross over it. Why? Because this ocean becomes the size of a calf's hoof print. So it takes some intelligence. It takes some intelligence when we engage in devotional service also, because this material energy is very sharp. And one of the solutions afterwards the Guru sends to his disciple is, you could have just put it on a shelf, in a small section. You could have created a shelf in your cave, and you could have just put the book on a shelf, and none of this would have happened. So it takes little intelligence to be able to arrange things. And now Devashi Narad, he is wondering that how is Lord Kṛṣṇa as a perfect Grihastha? So now sometimes even this question could be raised. Lord Kṛṣṇa, when he is in Dvārakā, he is appearing as Grihastha. And so which ashram is the highest? Right? There is a common theme that Lord Kṛṣṇa tells to Arjun in Bhagavad Gita. Yad yad acharatis sheshtas tat tad eve taro janaha. As great men act, they continue to engage in various activities, the common men follow. And of all the men, the greatest is Lord Kṛṣṇa. He is the Supreme Purusha, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, Devashi Narad is wondering, how is it that 16,108 wives, how is Lord going to maintain? And Devashi Narad's mind is, he is one body, he is one person. So how will he maintain 16,108 wives? That's very difficult. So how is Lord going to maintain that thought when he enters Dvārakā? First he is amazed by the beauty of Dvārakā, as we covered in the translation. He is saying that in the central city, in the main city, there are 900,000 palaces. And all the highways, intersections, parks, everything is very nicely constructed. By who? Vishwakarma, the architect of the demigods. He is the one who has established this. Of course, there are 3 layers in Dvārakā. So this is the inner one. And of them, he realizes, means again, and the palaces, individual palaces have been described, that they are made of best of the marble, the very fine marble they are made up of. And the gates are made up of silver. The posts are made up of silver. And there is gold used extensively in making various kind of furniture. So they have been covered by gold. And the beds and the sitting places, they have been bedecked with jewels. And even to light up the palaces, jewels have been used. Can you imagine? Means again. And what kind of jewels? Not just emeralds and rubies. Even paras money has been used. And, Chintamani, of course, we hear in spiritual world, is being used to even to pave the road. So you can think about the opulence of Dvārakā. And these are gigantic palaces, not small palaces. So they are amazing. And among them, he learns, of course, when he is wandering in the city, he inquires, he learns that there are 16,108 palaces, one for each queen. So he is curious and he enters into the first palace that he sees. What does he see? That Lord Kṛṣṇa is sitting on a nice seat, nice comfortable seat. And goddess Rukmini, so she is referred to as Shri because she is expansion of the goddess of fortune. So again, this expansion of goddess of fortune, Acharya Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains, she is an expansion of Radharani. And of course, from Radharani comes Chandravali, from Chandravali comes Rukmini Devi. And she is in the Aishwarya Bhav, while in Vrindavan it is Madhurya Bhav. So here she is holding a yak fan, charmer, with a golden handle, and she is very softly fanning Lord Kṛṣṇa with charmer. And he is amazed that Queen Rukmini, she has hundreds of thousands of maidservants. Yet at the same time, she personally is serving Lord Kṛṣṇa. And Lord Kṛṣṇa is smiling, looking at her in a very pleasing way, and they are having very nice conversation. And as soon as Lord Krishna sees Devashi Narad, he gets up from his seat. He comes and bows down to Devashi Narad. And not just that, Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur explains that he further extends his hands and touches the feet of Devashi Narad. And Devashi Narad doesn't back up, because he understands that Lord Krishna is showing how in the mood of a grihastha one should welcome a sage. Devashi Narad is a sannyasi. So again, how one should welcome the sage. So Lord is setting an example for us. He's showing us that when a sage comes, we should immediately bow down, pay obeisances to the sage, touch their feet, and ask for benedictions. And then Lord Krishna sets him up on his seat where he was sitting, while Queen Rukmini, following the indication from Lord Krishna, continues to charm now Devashi Narad. Previously she was fanning Lord Krishna, now she is fanning Devashi Narad. And Lord Krishna washes Devashi Narad's feet and sprinkles that water on himself. And now Devashi Narad is wondering, Lord Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The water that washes his feet becomes Ganges, right? That's how the Vajra river that came, and washing Lord's feet, it was collected by Lord Brahma, and that is Ganges, which purifies all. But Lord is setting an example how to welcome a sage, how to, respect them initially. And then Lord Krishna worships him with amazing paraphernalia. And then he inquires from him, "Oh dear sage, you are self-satisfied. What can we grihasthas do to serve you?" So this is the mood Lord Krishna is setting as an example for us. So Devashi Narad, he understands Lord Krishna's mood, and he is smiling. And at that time, he, in his heart, he is praying. So again, it is not verbally, but he is saying that, "Lord, you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and you purify all the universes. And so, please give me the benediction that I may continue to engage in your service and continue to spread your glories." So Devashi Narad is a spaceman, right, from the Vedic times. He is going without the need of any space suit like the astronauts wear. And he doesn't need to wear the diaper that the astronauts wear. So again, that completes our... He is a sage, and he can easily go from one planet to another planet without much difficulty. He doesn't need to make a 10-year plan to get to Mars and so forth. Very quickly, very efficiently, because of the mercy of Lord, Parusham Nishu. Lord Krishna says, "I am the ability in man." So he gives this ability to Devashi Narad, and Devashi Narad has a spiritual body that was covered in first canto itself. So he can quickly go from one planet to another, and he is constantly singing Narayan, Narayan, and he is singing the glories of Lord Krishna. And he is an amazing kirtanier. So now sometimes people get confused, so sannyasi and a kirtanier, because kirtan is in the mode of ignorance, sometimes people say. But no, if your kirtan means singing the glories of Lord Krishna, right? Kirti, that's from kirtan word is derived. Kirti means glorification. So kirtan is glorification, singing in mundane subject matters. That is in the mode of ignorance. While kirtan is transcendental to the three modes of material nature. And very simply, we can just do kirtan at any time. All we need to do is raise our hand and chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. We can read Srimad Bhagavatam, that's also kirtan. We can read Bhagavad Gita, that's also kirtan. We can glorify Lord when we see Him in the GT form, and we appreciate even in our heart, mind, body and words. 3 ways you can do kirtan. So you can continue to do kirtan without even having to speak a single word. So here Devashi Narad is amazed, and so he gets up and he walks to the next palace. What does he see? He sees that Lord Krishna is sitting with Uddhava and his wife Satyabhama, and they're playing dice. Now, the previous incident, he suddenly remembered, it's like in the evening time, right? When he had entered into the first palace and Lord Krishna was conversing with Rukmini Devi. But here, just the next level of surprise happens. So Lord doesn't want to give the big surprise yet. The next level of surprise happens that he's seeing Lord Krishna is present here as well. Wait a minute, Lord Vasudeva was there, Lord Vasudeva is here, how is that possible? So he's still contemplating. And what happens next is, as soon as Lord Vasudeva sees Devashi Narad coming, he gets up from his seat and he brings Devashi Narad, places him on his seat, seats him, and he, again pays obeisances and washes his feet and again worships him as if he had not even seen Devashi Narad before. And he inquires from Devashi Narad, what can we householders do to serve you? So this is where Devashi Narad is realizing the amazing potential of Lord Shri Krishna. He was present there, same evening time. Now he is present here with Satyabhama and Uddhava, and they are playing dice. So this is more of an entertainment. Grihasthas normally engage in Dharma, Arth, Kam, Moksha. So those are the four principles they focus on. Dharma is religiosity, Artha is economic development, and Kam is some level of regulated entertainment. And moksha is, of course, the end of goal is to attain liberation. So that is the goal that they are aiming at. However, Vaishnava devotees, right, Vaishnava Grihasthas, they are focusing on devotional service. So by engaging in devotional service, our goal is Lord Krishna himself. So here, Devashi Narad is surprised as how Lord Krishna is behaving as if he had never seen him before. And he's worshipping him as if this is the first time he's worshipping. And he's, surprised with this, behavior that he sees. And it just continues that, Lord Krishna is even saying the same word. And then, Devashi Narad, he gets up, by smiling at Lord Krishna, taking his permission, he goes to the third palace. And what does he see? He sees Lord Krishna is engaging in doing the 5 kind of sacrifices, which are also called Pancha Suna. So it is very interesting to understand what this Pancha Suna, 5 types of sacrifices are. So the Acharyas reveal this to us, that the Grihasthas, they should always engage in these 5 Mahayagyas, the great sacrifices, which are defined as Patho, Homash, Cha Atithinam, Sparhaya, Tarpanam and Bali. So Patho. First sacrifice is study of the Vedas. And Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam especially is non-different from Krishna. And of course Bhagavad Gita is song of Lord Krishna. So they are not different from Lord Krishna. So when we study these scriptures, that covers the study of Vedas. Because Srimad Bhagavatam is the commentary on the Vedanta Sutras, on the Vedanta. And then Homash, fire sacrifices. So, fire sacrifices is Homa activity. And then Atithinam Saparya. So Saparya is waiting on the guests, inviting guests, engaging in serving the guest and making sure that they are comfortable, and conversing, asking for their welfare, and making arrangements so that the guest has nice quarters, nice way to live, and so forth. So various guests, when they come and visit us. So Devashi Narad himself is visiting. And here Lord Krishna, as soon as he sees Devashi Narad, he welcomes him as a guest. Atithi. Atithi is basically a person who comes without a tithi. Atithi. Means not, tithi is like time. So there is no time when a guest can come. There is no time when the guest would leave. So normally, in today's times especially, if an atithi, a guest shows up on our door, we were like, COVID-19. So scared. Yet again, we have to understand from the eyes of the Shastras, Chakshus, from the vision of the Shastras, that how a guest is still a responsibility of the Grihasthas. And we should be very pleasing manner, welcoming the guest, asking for their welfare. And then Tarpanam. Tarpanam is making oblations for the forefathers. So that is also a responsibility of a householder. And then Bali is that making sure that we are keeping some foodstuffs for other living entities. In the Vedic culture, there was a trend that when you make chapatis, right, when you make roti, the flour patties, then the first one would go to the cow and the last one would go to the dog. However, we also want to make sure to follow the Vedic injunction. And Srila Prabhupada gave very nice instruction to his, Grihastha folks, disciples who were in Grihastha ashram. Once he performed the marriage of one of his disciples with a nice lady, and next day the two of them, husband and wife, they decided to go on a morning walk with Srila Prabhupada. And on the morning walk, the husband asked Srila Prabhupada, "So Prabhupada, what is the duty of a Grihastha?" So Srila Prabhupada responded by saying that before eating any meal, first we should offer, of course, and before honoring prasadam, Grihastha should open the door and say, "Is there anyone out here who is hungry? Please come, we have prasadam for you." And call it out 3 times. "Is there anyone out there who is hungry? We have prasadam at our home." And then first make sure that people within the 10-mile radius, they have been fed before a Grihastha eats prasadam. So if somebody does come in, they should give them prasadam, and then after they have been satisfied, the Grihastha should have prasadam. So he was surprised, and his mindset was, the disciple was surprised, his mindset was maybe he wants to hear about how a husband-wife relationship goes on and so forth. But Srila Prabhupada gave with respect to the 5th Mahayagya. Now, he was hoping that Srila Prabhupada would give more instruction, but Srila Prabhupada continued to chant. When they were returning back, hoping that Srila Prabhupada will give further instruction, he asked Srila Prabhupada, "So Srila Prabhupada, what is the duty of a Grihastha?" Hoping that this time Srila Prabhupada would tell him something about the relationship between husband and wife, how to manage the house affairs, how to engage in the development, how to keep Krishna in the center, and so many other thoughts, right? So many other instructions. Srila Prabhupada said the duty of a Grihastha is, before honoring prasadam, open the door and shout loudly 3 times, "Is there anyone out here who is hungry? Please come, we have prasadam for you. We have nice food stuff for you." And only after having fed the person, if there is someone hungry who comes, the Grihastha should eat. So Srila Prabhupada made it very clear that a Grihastha needs to make sure that people where they reside in that area are well fed before they take prasadam. They honor prasadam. And it's called prasadam seva. Prasadam also means mercy, mercy of the Lord. So Srila Prabhupada is setting an example for Grihasthas that mercy of the Lord flows through the hands of devotees, and if a Grihastha is a devotee of Lord, then he has to first distribute the mercy of the Lord to others before taking themselves. Why? Because if Grihastha takes that prasadam first, himself or herself, then this attitude is there that why do I have to make enough prasadam? This way, it can cause envy, greed and lust and other kind of anarthas to enter our heart. Now somebody could say, why do Grihasthas have to perform these 5 kind of Mahayagyas, right? The Panchasuna, they are also called. Well, knowingly or unknowingly, householder, specifically householder, everyone actually goes through this, that the Grihasthas, especially the householders, they are committing 5 kinds of sinful activities. Now this is amazing. When you hear this, like, what are these 5 kinds of sinful activities that the householders, just by taking care of the house, are constantly performing? So when we take water from the water pitcher, so in the old times, ladies would go get water from the river and this water pitcher would be there. And when you take the water, many germs are killed, many living entities are killed just in that process. And then when we are cooking meal, right? When we are grinding the food stuffs, when we are cutting the food stuff, And when we are cooking the meal on fire, various other germs are also getting killed. Various other living entities are getting killed. And then, when we walk on the streets, we can step on so many insects and ants and so forth. And when we drive cars and use various kind of vehicles, that also we would be killing so many insects and ants and so forth. And consciously or unconsciously, all these things are going on when we speak. So everyone commits these, but especially grahasthas, in the case of grahasthas, because grahasthas for economic development go out of the house to do work. That's why Srila Prabhupada used to say that Aranya Akhyavat, a happy is a grahastha who doesn't have to travel long distance and is self-sustained. So one of the formula he gave was a grahastha should have a cow and a small piece of land, farm on the land, grow various kind of vegetables, use that to offer bhoga to the lordships, takes care of, with those vegetables, get sufficient money so that meet the necessity of life, get the milk from the cow, distribute it as well as consume it after offering it to the lordships, and live happily. Yet at the same time, we also covered the story earlier, that cow needs care. So grahastha would be the caretaker instead of hiring someone else to take care of the cow. So this is a simple way of life it used to be. And that's why so many self-sustained villages were started by Srila Prabhupada, like in Gita Nagari in West Virginia and so forth. So that is the vision of Acharya. So his vision is that we create self-sustained communities. And in today's time, we are realizing that actually we cannot eat these nuts and bolts. What we really need is the grain, the vegetables, and to sustain ourselves, association of devotees who are living in a mode of goodness. Mode of goodness is where everyone is clean. Cleanliness is next to godliness. So he is revealing this to us, Srila Prabhupada. Now as Devashi Nārada sees, now he gets another surprise. Lord Krishna is engaging in this Panchasuna, which actually starts to occur in the morning, right? Making oblations to the forefathers and all those activities. So he's surprised that he was there in the first two palaces in the evening. Out here it's morning, and Lord Vasudev, he himself is engaged in performing all these activities. So he's getting a little confused because this is the next level he got. And so he's wondering what's really going on here. And then again he's worshipped by Lord Krishna. As soon as Lord Krishna sees, as if he has not seen him before, 2 times. So as Devashi Nārada is going from one palace to another palace, he sees Lord Krishna there. Previously when he entered Dvārakā, he was thinking, one body of Lord Krishna, how is he maintaining? So these are his plenary expansions. Somsha and Vibhidamsha, the two-way Lord expands. Somsha is Vishnu Tattvas. So he is not different. I know my business, you know your business. But Lord Krishna knows everyone's business because he is residing in our heart as Super Soul. And yet at the same time, he is in Golok Vrindavan, dancing with the gopis and interacting with Yashoda Mai and Nand Maharaj, Nand Baba, and does not step out of Vrindavan. Yet he is also in Dvārakā, and he is engaged with various familial pastimes with his 16,108 queens. And yet at the same time, he is also lying in the Garbhodak Ocean, Karan Ocean and Shiro Ocean, Shir Sagar, as in the form of Vishnus, and managing all the affairs of this material world. And in Dvārakā, he is residing the 4 personalities form: Lord Vasudev, Lord Sankarshan, Pradyumna and Aniruddha. So he is surprised that this is amazing. And then as he walks, he is seeing that Lord is engaged in Sandhyam Upasana, which is, he's chanting on his Gayatri mantra in the evening hours. He's surprised. I just saw him in the morning hours. Now he is doing the Gayatri mantra recitation, which is in the evening. And then, as he goes to the next place, he is seeing that Lord is engaged in sword practice as a Kshatriya. He is appearing as a Kshatriya. So even though he is transcendental to the 3 modes of material nature, he's appearing. He does human-like activities, just to set example. As a Kshatriya, he's practicing sword with another, associate of his. And this sword practice takes place as dawn. So now he's surprised. In that palace, it was evening. In this palace, it is dawn. And then, in the next palace as he goes, Lord is riding on the horses. And that's a noon activity. He's getting perplexed now, because he doesn't know what is going to be the time when he enters the next palace. And as he goes to the next palace, Lord is, lying down, and he's resting on a bed, which is in the later part of night. So it is night here, while it is dawn there, while it is noon somewhere else, when Lord is riding the horses and the elephants, and it hasn't added yet. As he continues to move to the next palace, so Lord is giving charity of cows, which occurs in the morning. So it was night earlier. Now in this particular palace, it is morning, and Lord is giving charities to the Brahmanas. And this is happening, which is, in the afternoon. And then, as he goes to the next palace, he's seeing that Lord is joking with his queens and other associates, as if it's the evening time, night time, as it's happening, the dusk time and later. Whereas at other places, he is performing various religious rituals. At another places, he is engaged in meditation, which happens in the Brahm Muhurta 2 hours before the sunrise. So he's amazed, he's surprised as how he's going from one palace to another. Not just Lord Kṛṣṇa is engaged in different activities, and everywhere he goes, Lord Kṛṣṇa worships him and asks him the same question: how can we Grihastha serve you? As if he has not seen him. So in this manner, Devarshi Narad, he is going on. And at one place he sees that Lord has gone in Arcade. Arcade is gone to the forest to kill animals. Now Kshatriyas, they have been provided this injunction that they have to go in the forest and practice killing of animals. There are two purposes for this. They kill the animals for the sacrificial purpose, so that their bodies can be used in sacrifices, various fire sacrifices. And this used to be in the Treta Yuga. So again, in Treta Yuga, they were qualified Brahmanas. But Lord Kṛṣṇa is showing us by example that as Kshatriyas and administrators, the Kshatriyas have to fight with various kings in the battlefield. So they would do. So the first purpose is to kill the animals, so that, and there are specific animals that need to be provided, and they should be killed in such a manner that their bodies are still offerable in the fire sacrifices. And then they are offered in the fire sacrifice, they don't have to pass through the various 8.4 million species. Rather, the living entity immediately advances to the human birth. So that's a great boon even for the animal. And then the second purpose a Kshatriya would kill is, they would kill the ferocious animals, because the sages, they have the hermitages and ashram in the forest. So to make sure that these sages are not disturbed, the kings, the Kshatriyas, would go out and kill the ferocious animals like jackals, wolves, tigers, lions and so forth, so that they don't disturb these sages. And sages can continue to engage in their devotional service, performing various kind of sacrifices. And of course, Lord Kṛṣṇa reveals in Bhagavad Gita, the topmost sacrifices, Nama Japo Asmi, chanting of the holy name. Hare Kṛṣṇa, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So this is the two ways Kshatriyas would try to, first to protect the sages, the ashrams, hermitages in sacrificial arenas, and second is to help the living entities who have been killed, whose animal bodies are offered in fire sacrifices, so they immediately advance to the human form. Srila Prabhupada made it very clear that in Kali age we don't have qualified Brahmanas. Because today if you ask a Brahman not to use a matchstick, but use Arni mantras to invoke fire, you will not find one. Just with the invocation of mantras, the sages, they would test how to get the fire in the wood, the sacrificial arena. So again, there the fire would be invoked just by mantras. And we don't have qualified brahmanas in current age. So here, as he's continuing to move forward, going from one palace to another, now he is further amazed. At one place, he is saying that Lord Kṛṣṇa is engaged in a marriage ceremony of his daughter. And with great pomp and great amazing manner, this ceremony is being performed. At another place, he is saying that Lord Kṛṣṇa is, doing the, his daughter is departing. What's that called? Vidai. Yes, Vidai. So the marriage of the daughter is afternoon, evening time. Sometimes we also do it in the morning. But Vidai is the next day. So it's the next day already in another palace. So he's getting confused. Now, not just the time of the day, but even the dates are getting mixed up in his mind. He's saying that the time is completely perplexing him. Where am I? He's getting confused. And at one place he sees that Lord Kṛṣṇa is coddling with his sons and daughters. So again, he's wondering, means at here, the babies are, young. His sons and daughter, they are young. In another place, they're grown up and getting married off. In another place, he's welcoming his daughter-in-law, who has, gone through the Vidai ceremony, and now he's welcoming her in the house along with his son. So now Devashi Narad, he smiles. He could not stop from smiling, yet he restrained himself. And he pays attention that even a greater thing is happening in this whole process. He is amazed that Lord Kṛṣṇa allowed him to enter this pastime of his. And even Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva are not able to say this, what he is able to see. And Lord Kṛṣṇa is doing it so wonderfully by his various internal potencies, by his Yogmaya Shakti. He's doing it so wonderfully that there is no confusion. If an associate from this palace happens to go, at another region, somehow Lord Kṛṣṇa is hidden. And Acharyas explain that when Lord Kṛṣṇa would return in the evening, he would take permission from his wife to go out. And when he would go to the assembly hall, people would only see one Lord Vasudeva. Vasudeva is son of Vasudeva, another name for Lord Kṛṣṇa. So one Lord Vasudeva. But as he was coming back, everyone would see him coming to there, as his wives are eagerly waiting to see Lord Kṛṣṇa. They would be waiting and looking out on the street. They would only see Lord Kṛṣṇa entering her palace. They would not see Lord Kṛṣṇa going to other palaces. And they would be so focused on seeing Lord Kṛṣṇa that they would continue to serve him as if he is spending time only with them. So each one of them thought that she is favorite wife of Lord Kṛṣṇa. And Lord Kṛṣṇa is fully spending his time with her, even asking her various things and asking her to leave the house and asking her of what she wants and so forth. So yes, he's showing us a perfect householder, how to carry out his activities. And even the associates, the servants, not just the ladies, the maid servants, but also, all these queens had man servants. And they were all bedecked with nice ornaments, earrings, and they were carrying out this activity so wonderfully. And none of them were ever seeing Lord Vasudeva in other palaces. So he was with his Yogmaya arranging it, having expanded into 16,108 Vasudevas, right, his planetary expansions, as Amshas. They are all Vishnu Tattvas, and they are carrying out, yet at the same time he is everywhere. It's not that he is at one place. So there is also an injunction when a Grihastha, again, in current times, one should only have one wife and should make sure that she is satisfied fully. And Lord Kṛṣṇa is showing that by his behavior, how to be a good Grihastha, how to perform. And that's why sometimes people say, wait a minute, if such is the case, it's easier to just, take sannyas from all this, because you can never satisfy a lady. And yet at the same time, Lord Kṛṣṇa is setting this example. She is showing us that it is possible when a Grihastha dovetails his life around Kṛṣṇa. At one palace, I forgot to tell you this, he is even engaged in performing demigod worship. Now, many demigod temples are also set up in Dvārakā, and they have effulgently worships are going on, of various kind of demigods. Lord Krishna is saying that yes, sometimes grahasthas, they want to elevate to the next level. So Srila Prabhupada gives this example. Once his disciple said to him that person we are not able to preach to him because he is a Shiv Bhakta. He worships Lord Shiva, Mahadev. And so Srila Prabhupada said, no, that would be in his benefit if he understands that Lord Shiva is a devotee of Lord Krishna. Vaishnavanam yatha Shambhu. So if one understands that Lord Shiva is the topmost devotee of Lord Krishna, then there would be benefit. If one thinks that Lord Shiva is all in all, then there would be an offense, because that's one of the namaprads, to take Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva to be on the same level as Lord Krishna. So we have to be very much careful as how we are dealing in our daily affairs. And we want to avoid all kind of offenses, even jana aparads, right? Offenses to the general populace. And that we can only do when we orient everything with keeping Lord Krishna in the center. Shri Radha Krishna should be in the center, and we should dovetail all our activities, all our prescribed duties in satisfying Shri Radha Shyam Sundar, and everyone should be engaged. Yet at the same time, it's not that we are only serving them and ignoring our family members. We have to see how, as a family, we all are oriented, and as the head of the householder, every householder, every grahastha has a responsibility. Now this is interesting, what the Shastras say about grahastha and grahinis. Grahastha is one who is situated in grahasthashram. Grahini means one who is the owner of the house. So the house is owned by the wife. All the property is owned by the wife. Husband is only situated in that house. So today, means because of the effect of Kali age, there are so many cases, and where, if people separate. First of all, in Vedic times, there was no concept of divorce or separation, where everyone was dovetailing and serving Lord Krishna, everyone was happy. But now people are, serving their senses. They are so much oriented in that manner. So they are trying to snatch and get into fight. Well, there is no need to fight, because the house and every property that is there belongs to the wife, while husband is only situated there to keep, everyone and treat everyone with love, compassion and kindness. So that is the attitude, how one should be engaged in a day-to-day activities. And every activity should be dovetailed in serving Lord Krishna in the association of family members. And charity begins at home. Srila Prabhupada gives us this example. Once at the airport, he was sitting and the devotees had brought this Mahaprasadam, and they brought it to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada, tasted some of it and asked them to distribute. And now these devotees, they're distributing it to other passengers, as Srila Prabhupada called them. He said charity begins at home. First distribute it to the devotees. And if there is some left, then distribute it to the outsiders. And that is the general attitude. Charity begins at home. Yet at the same time, we are doing it in association of devotees. And continue to engage ourselves with that attitude. Now, one of the interesting thing is, as the injunction goes, even a grahastha is supposed to be, a Brahman grahastha especially, is supposed to be at the Brahman stage. So this common thought always comes, and common phrase is always given. So reference from Bhagavad Gita comes in. Brahma bhuta prasannatma na shochati na kankshati sama sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhaktim labhate param. Brahma bhuta prasannatma, the one who is situated in Brahman, that stage of Brahman. He is prasannatma. He is always jubilant. He is always smiling, inside and outside. Not just on outside, but inside and outside. And how can he be smiling if he is not peaceful? So he has to be peaceful first, right? So how can he be peaceful? He can be peaceful only if there is no anxiety. And what are the two common causes of anxiety? Lamentation of the past activities, shochati, and akanksha, aspiring for something in the future. And these two factors come because of, attaching ourselves with the fruits of our labor. So when one is attaching oneself with the fruits of one's labor, than thinking, oh, if I had received this in the past, I could have done this better. Or if I do this in the future, then I could do this better. So the story that we covered in the case of a disciple who was, trying to save his book, he was shochati akankshati, and he was making plans. Sometimes even making plans require little intelligence. And if you don't have intelligence, then approach one who has intelligence. Approach a spiritual master, approach a senior God brother, approach a senior Vaishnava to get guidance and try to think of what would be the effect of an action that you would take. That way you can get proper instructions, proper insight into various activities. When the 6 Goswamis were living in Vrindavan, many householders, grahasthas and grahinis, they would come and they would ask them the various solutions. And Sanatana Goswami, many of his writings, he would, it is described that they would provide the solution. If there is a fight, they would put forth, this is the state, and the 6 Goswamis, they would provide a solution with keeping Krishna in the center, and they would just take that solution without any grudge or grievances. Today, even when you give them a solution, sometimes the householders, but it is, just sometimes we have seen that householders, they become very inimical towards the person who is giving the instruction, because it's not something that they are desiring, it is not in their favor. And the other person is using it to press the the spouse down. And that should not be the attitude as well. Both should take it with a simple attitude, and most of the advices should be taken with reference to the acharyas. They should not be just whimsical solutions. So understand what is the purport of a specific statement that has been given. And you should always refer what has been provided to you with respect to Sadhu, Guru and Shastra. So those are 3 references. Sadhu are the Vaishnavas, the devotees of Lord Krishna. Guru is the spiritual master, and Shastra are the scriptures, the bona fide scriptures. Don't just pick up any mundane book out there. Even for Bhagavad Gita, why do we call this Bhagavad Gita? Why did Srila Prabhupada call it Bhagavad Gita as it is? It is not as it is that you put it on the shelf and say, it is as it is, it's going to stay there as it is. It is as it is because Srila Prabhupada said that the purports, they clarify the translations, they clarify the message as Lord Krishna intended. That's why it is called Bhagavad Gita as it is. Because Srila Prabhupada, when he was approached by an English lady asking for an English translation of Bhagavad Gita, he went to the library, he was searching for a translation, but he was seeing that he could not find a genuine translation, a bona fide translation, in English of a Bhagavad Gita. Every commentator had put their purpose, their mindset, their speculative understanding in Bhagavad Gita, thus contaminating it. Bhagavad Gita is song of Lord Krishna. He is singing this to Arjuna, giving him instruction. It is the manual for humans, for us, how to live our life, how to engage in various activities with mind, body and words, even mind. And that's why holy name is called Maha Mantra. Mantra means one that delivers the mind. Man and Tra. Tra means delivers. So one that delivers the mind. So that is the attitude. Hare Krishna. So here we should look from that particular perspective. And sometimes people even look at the 4 ashrams because they say, Lord Krishna said in Bhagavad Gita, Chaturvarnam Maya Shishtam Guna Karma Vibhagasha. So the 4 varnas are established by me, Lord Krishna is saying to Arjuna. And they are based on one's guna, the nature, and karma, the various kind of activities. So one should engage in activities based on one's nature. And that's how the distribution of varnas is. Where is the reference of ashram given? That's also given in Manu Samhita extensively. Also, it has been identified by Lord Krishna himself how one who is taking sannyas order, who is in grahasthashram and so forth. So that has been extensively described in Srimad Bhagavatam and other scriptures. And we talked about Brahmabhuta. But how does one get to the Brahmabhuta stage? What is the way one approaches the Brahmabhuta stage? So the formula to elevate to self-realization is also very essential. And it is simply given, this is given in Bhagavad Gita, the reference is, by being purified by one's intelligence. So one should purify one's intelligence. That understand that our intelligence should be used in spiritual advancement. It is like a fuel in the car, right? And it's driving the car in a specific direction. But that direction aspect is where intelligence comes in. Which direction are we going? So fuel in the car is time. The direction is where the intelligence comes in. Which direction am I going? So that is being identified. So we want to approach Lord Krishna as our goal. We want to engage continuously in devotional service. Sambandh abhidheya prayojana. Sambandh is who am I? What is my purpose in this life? I am a spirit soul. I am a living entity, a Jivatma. And what is the purpose? Jivera Suruphoya Krishnera Nityadas. As a living entity, I am an eternal servant of Lord Shri Krishna. Nityadas. Not Das in the morning and then do all my other activities in the afternoon and then again become Das in the evening. No. Constantly. Everything that I do, every activity that I do should be dovetailed in serving Lord Krishna. Should be dovetailed. That's what Lord Krishna says. Mayam asmaran yuddhicha to Arjun. Thinking of me, keeping me in the focus, in the center. Stand up and fight, O Arjun. So Lord Krishna is giving this instruction to all of us also, that we should continuously think of Lord Krishna when we engage, even in our daily activities, even in our work. We should think as how what I'm working is in engagement as of devotional service to satisfy Lord Krishna. That will save us from over-endeavor, and our intelligence will be focused in doing what is necessary in the rightful manner. Then controlling the mind with determination. So one has to be determined to control the mind. And one of the simple processes is chanting of the holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So again, we have to be also peaceful, right? And there is a peace formula given in the fifth chapter of Bhagavad Gita, 29th verse. Brahma bhuta prasannatma na shochati na kakshati sama sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhaktim labhate param. Oh, not Brahma bhuta prasannatma, this is the one we just covered. Bhoktaram yagatapasam sarva lok maheshwaram surhidam sarva bhutanam gyatva mam shantim richati. So, Bhoktaram yagatapasam. So who is the beneficiary of all the sacrifices? Lord Krishna, one who understands. He is the Yajna Purusha. So every mantra that we, ends with Swaha when we make an oblation in the fire. Swaha is wife of Yajnadev. Yajnadev is none other than Lord Krishna. So we are first handing it over to Radharani, who is then delivering it to Lord Krishna. So that's how all sacrifices. So the beneficiary is Lord Krishna. Sometimes people, they worship demigods, and Lord Krishna says, yes, they do that, and whatever they get, they worship him indirectly through demigods, because demigods are worshipping Lord Krishna constantly. And all that demigods are passing on to these living entities who are demigod worshippers are actually, these demigods are getting from Lord Krishna. So they are like the department heads, and in their department, whatever facilities they are passing on, whatever blessings they are passing on, they are actually getting it from Lord Krishna. So that is where one becomes, Bhuktaram Yagatapsam. Sarva Lok Maheshwar, understanding that Lord Krishna is the supreme proprietor of all material and spiritual universes. And Suruhidam Sarva Bhutanam. And he is the benefactor and the well-wisher of every living entity, not just of humans, not just of cows, but of every living entity, the trees, the beasts, the insects, the bugs, everything, all plants. So, he is the well-wisher of all living entities. One who understands these three aspects. He is the Lord of beneficiary of all sacrifices, the supreme proprietor of all material and spiritual universes, and he is the well-wisher of all living entities. One who understands this is at peace. Why? Because he is in right knowledge. Vidya vinaya sampanne brahmane gavi hastini shuni chaiva shvapake cha pandita samadarshina. So when one is properly endowed with the right knowledge, when his intelligence is sharp, Vidya Vinay Sampanne, he is very vinambra, he is very equipoised and equally disposed towards all living entities, because he sees every living entity is dear to Lord Krishna, and Lord Krishna is residing in everyone's heart as super soul, as Paramatma. Brahmane gavi hastini shuni chava shopakecha. So, Lord is residing in as super soul in the heart of. So, the various kind of living entities are identified in this verse when Lord Krishna is revealing it to Arjuna. In the heart of a Brahman, as a living entity, the heart of the living entity who has a Brahman body, he is residing as super soul. Gavi is cow. So, the living entity who has a body of a cow, and the heart of that living entity, Lord is residing as super soul. Hastini is an elephant. In the heart of the living entity who is this body of an elephant, Lord is residing as the super soul. Shuni cheva shopakicha, and the dog and the dog eater, in their hearts, the living entity who has the body of a dog, the body of a dog eater, chandal, in the heart of those living entities also Lord is residing as super soul. Pandita samadeshina, so such a knowledgeable person, such a scholar, pandit, so that person is also referred to as pandit. Samadashina looks them with equal vision that they are all living entities, eternal servant of Lord Krishna, and the purpose of life is to serve Lord Krishna. So, if we engage an elephant in various services, those services should be dovetailed so that they finally serve Lord Krishna. The cow gives milk, that milk should be used in serving Lord Krishna by making various kind of offerings, and first making a bhoga offering to Lord Krishna. And it's very easy to satisfy Lord Krishna. One can simply offer very basic things. Even if you are not very rich, very poor, you can do this. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yo me bhakta prayachati tadaham bhakta upritam ashnami prayatatmana. One can just offer patra, a leaf, pushp of flower, phal of fruit, toyam, little water, with love and devotion. So, love and devotion has been stressed in this particular verse twice. So, that is the main ingredient. So, the fifth ingredient is very subtle. You cannot see it with your gross body. But it is what is inside our heart when we make an offering. That we serve Lord Krishna. When we serve with that mood, of course, it is purifying, because he says, Yat karoshi yadashnasi yad juhoshi tadasiyat. Yat tapasyasi kante tat kurishma vadapram. Whatever you do, whatever you offer, whatever you give away, whatever sacrifices that we perform, should be performed as an offering to Lord Krishna. So Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita is revealing this to us, that all these activities should be done. So to be able to get to the Brahma Bhuta stage, what all we have to do, that has been revealed. So by controlling the mind, giving up the objects of sense gratification. So there are various objects, it is the outlook that needs to change. Our activities may be the same. We may still take things that are available, but use in the service of Lord Krishna. So we are giving up the object of those sense objects, rather using these objects in the service of Lord Krishna. So we should only use the objects which are usable in the service of Lord Krishna. So this is where intelligence again comes in, and it is a cool mantra. Anukulyasya sankalpa pratikulyasya vivarjanam. Rakshi satiti vishwaso gopititve varnam tatha atmanikshepa karpane shadvida charanagati. The 6 limbs of surrender, the first 2 limbs identify this. Anikulyasya sankalpa, so accepting things that are favorable to devotional service. Pratikulyasya vivarjanam, rejecting things that are unfavorable to devotional service. Of course, Rakshi Satiti Vishwasa is always remembering and understanding that Lord Krishna will provide us all protection. Gopatitve Varnam Tatha, and accepting the guardianship of Lord Shri Krishna, taking his shelter and calling him as our guardian, our caretaker, our everything. Atmanikshepa, surrendering everything in service. So Yat Karoshi Yadashnasi, that covers everything is being dovetailed in serving Lord Krishna. And Karpane, in a humble manner. Just because you are engaged in devotional service, we should not become proud. And so this has been explained. How can we be humble? In Shikshashtika, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu reveals us. Tranadapi shuni chena tarurapi sahishnuna amanina manadena kirtaniya sadahari. Thinking oneself lower than the grass, more tolerant than the tree, not expecting any respect from others, but continuously engaging in giving respects to others. Be ready to give respect to others. When we have these 4 qualities, then we can do Kirtaniya Sadahari. We can constantly continue to glorify Lord Shri Krishna. So, and becoming freed from the attachment and hatred. So don't get attached to things. Not get attached to things, but rather get attached to the lotus feet of Lord Krishna and use everything dovetailing in the service of Lord Krishna and not hate anything. So this is the behavior of mind. I and mine. I refers to false ego, right? When we are thinking I am so and so, and we associate with this body and put various kind of upadhis. So when one is in this mood, then one becomes envious of others. I am so, and someone else is so, I am envious of that person. So this is false ego that causes because of bodily association, because of the various designation the body gets. And then mind causes lust, that this is mine and that is theirs. So again, I have this, and the grass is always greener on the other side. It causes lust to arise. And both of these, they are, as fuel for the false ego. They make the false ego even bigger. And your intelligence becomes dull when false ego becomes bigger. Because above intelligence is the soul, not false ego. Senses, above senses is mind, above mind is intelligence, above intelligence is soul. Actually, false ego is in the mode of ignorance. So rather it needs to be dovetailed, and we should come to a constitutional position, Jivera Sarupoya Kṛṣṇa Nityadas. So engage in devotional service. Everything should be dovetailed. But how do we dovetail is being identified by not attaching ourselves with material things and not hating anything. Rather, because this is the nature of mind, it thinks of accepting and rejecting. So being controlled by good intelligence in the mode of goodness, the mind would accept things which are favorable to devotional service and reject things that are unfavorable, and automatically would not be driven in this manner and would not hate anything. Rather, would do it as matter of love. So there are various ways one can perform. There are actually 4 different levels that one can perform. One has to perform prescribed duties, but they don't perform prescribed duties. That's the most fallen state because it's sinful. They engage in all sinful activities and they are further caught in the cycle of birth, death, old age and disease. And that's what everyone should understand, that should not do. Then the second one is because of fear. They see the super universal form of Lord Krishna. They're saying, oh, his time he's saying, devourer of all things. So if we don't act as per prescribed, by the Shastras, by the scriptures and sadhu and the spiritual master, then we will be suffering. So in fear, they do things. So when they are doing things in fear, they're still higher than people who are sinful, because in fear, at least they are trying to purify their existence. And slowly they will rise to a higher level. Even greater than that is one who is doing it as a duty. But as a duty, sometimes it becomes troublesome, so they think that, oh, this is such a troublesome activity. I'm not doing it out of fear, but it is too much. It's like an army rule going on. That is higher than fear, yet at the same time, as a duty is being done. So there is very little tinge of love and devotion there. While Lord, He is always seeking that inner feeling, what is in our heart. Duty, yes, it's more purifying, but rise higher to that than that. That when one serves Lord Krishna with love and devotion, and that is the platform we want to rise onto. And as we engage through fear, through duty, we will slowly rise onto, because our intelligence will become sharp, our mind will become clear, we will be able to see ourselves as eternal servant of Lord Krishna. And yet, at the same time, continue to progress, so keep focusing on serving Lord Krishna. So we can continue to, rise higher, so we don't hate things or get attached to things. Attachment refers to loving things, right? That's why. And hating is not to do things. But we should understand that particularly vivachanam, not accepting everything that are unfavorable to one's devotional service. And then who lives in a secluded place. Now a secluded place, or mind, when in a secluded place, you have to understand the injunctions given in the Shastra is in the association of devotees. Otherwise, if we are living in a secluded place with the company of our mind, which is uncontrolled, mana chanchala, as well as obstinate, right? It's like a monkey. So that would be a bad association, right? And in that case, if it is not being guarded and commanded by a fine intelligence in devotion, in mode of goodness at least, then it is very easy to get bad association, fall down from our present state and engage in sinful activities. So it is very important. The secluded place means disassociate with the materialists, people who are seeking sense gratification, who are lusty, who are only thinking that name, fame, glories and associating with women is the goal of life. So disassociate from those people, but engage in Lord's devotional service in the association of devotees. Therefore, the yajna of the current age in the Kali age is Sankirtan yajna, congregational chanting. So we do congregational chanting, and it is so wonderful. Even in COVID-19, we are virtually doing congregational chantings with wonderful devotees like you. So we continue to glorify the Lord in the association of devotees. And who eats little. So again, our Srila Prabhupada used to give this formula that when one's stomach is empty, they should fill half of their stomach with food stuff, 1/4 with water, and leave 1/4 space there for air, which will make sure that one has a long life. So we should just eat enough to sustain ourselves, not overeat, because that will make us dull. That will make our senses dull. And there is a concept called food coma there. When people, they just want to eat. So that's lust. That's a replication. And we have to rise above from that state. To just eat little and then control our body and mind and power of speech. So all activities that we perform with mind, body and words. So all these activities need to be very much in controlled manner, because that way our activities will get purified. All our work will get purified. And to be able to do that, we have to constantly meditate on Lord Kṛṣṇa. Mayyeva manadatsva. Lord Kṛṣṇa reveals to Arjuna that constantly think of me. That is the highest stage. But if we can't do that, we engage in regulated principles, following regulated principles, doing the chanting of the holy name and so forth. So that enables us to constantly think of Lord Kṛṣṇa and detach ourselves. So one detaches and frees oneself from the bad things, like false ego. False ego is thinking, I am this body. So one has to get to the stage of sarvopadhi vinirmuktam yat paratvena nirmalam rishikena rishikesha sevanam bhakti ruchyate. So giving up all type of designations associated with this body, but taking that one designation, Jivera Swarupaya Krishna Das, that we are the eternal servant of Lord Shri Krishna. Tat Paratvena Nirmanam, following in the footsteps of Acharyas, and carrying out the 9 process of devotion service, as Prahlad Maharaj says, Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Pada Sevanam Archanam Vandanam Dasyam Sakhyam Atmanivedanam. So Shravanam is hearing, Kirtanam is chanting glories of Lord Shri Krishna, Smaranam is remembering Lord Shri Krishna, Pada Sevanam, serving the lotus feet of Lord Shri Krishna, Archanam Vandanam. Archana is performing worship of Lord Shri Krishna. And even when we read Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, Lord Krishna says, one worships me by his intelligence, by one's intelligence. So that is the injunction given by Lord himself. Vandanam, singing prayers to Lord Shri Krishna. So Mahamantra appears in the form of prayers. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And then Dasyam, serving Lord Shri Krishna, and then being friend to Lord Shri Krishna, Sakyam and Atma Nivedan, surrendering everything to Lord Shri Krishna, Atma Nikshepa, surrendering everything in serving Lord Shri Krishna. And that will enable us to become free from the false ego, become free of our various opulences, the strength that we think that we have, because that's also associated, sometimes relates to lusty behavior. And it will deride us of the pride. So one becomes free of the false pride, becomes free of lust, becomes free of anger, because now you are not thinking that this I like and that I don't like. Rather, whatever is favorable to devotional service is engaged. Whatever is unfavorable to devotional service is avoided, is rejected. And acceptance of material things in devotional service, not for one's sense gratification. And so in this case, one becomes free of false proprietorship. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur used to give this very nice instruction, that one who is a grahastha should think oneself as a dog of Lord Shri Krishna, as a guard, right? Guarding, and understand that the Supreme Proprietor, Lord Shri Krishna and Radharani, they are the owner of the house and should serve them. Dovetail all the activities in serving Shri Shri Radha Krishna, who are in the center, who are the owner of the house, and one should engage oneself as well as one's family, his wife, his children, everyone, in serving Lord Shri Krishna and Radharani. So they are the Supreme Proprietor, and we are just occupying. This is every home of a Grihastha then becomes a temple of Lord. And in that temple, Lord is being very nicely serviced day and night. And in this manner, one becomes very peaceful. And such a person is certainly elevated to the position of self-realization. So such a person will quickly come to the level of Brahma Bhuta. Then one comes to this level, the characteristic of Brahma Bhuta are explained. Brahma Bhuta prasannatma na shochati na kankshati sama sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhakti lavate param. So those are the characteristics, not the origin. So origin is, how does one elevate to the position of Brahma Bhuta? Self-realization is given. Now you would say, where is it given in Bhagavad Gita that all these activities should be done? Right before this verse 18.54, where it's given Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma, is the verse given where the formula to elevate to self-realized position is being identified. To elevate to self-realization. So if you permit me, I would like to read this verse. It's a beautiful verse. And we covered every aspect of this verse at depth. Buddhaya vishuddhaya yukto dhrityatmanam niyamya cha shabdade vishayam staktva raga dvesho vyadasya cha vivikta sevi lagva ashi yata vakakaya manasaha dhyana yoga paro nityam vairagyam samupashritaha ahankara balam darpam kamam krodham parigraham vimuchya nirmamam shanto brahma bhuyaya kalpate. Being purified by his intelligence and controlling the mind with determination, giving up the objects of sense gratification, being freed from attachment and hatred, one who lives in a secluded place, who eats little, who controls his body, mind and power of speech, who is always in trance, and who is detached, free from false ego, false strength, false pride, lust, anger, and acceptance of material things, free from false proprietorship, and is peaceful. Such a person is certainly elevated to the position of self-realization. So one comes to the stage of Brahma Bhuta. And at that stage, Brahma Bhuta, the characteristics are identified in the next verse. Sometimes people identify the next verse and say, you have to be this to come to this. But the actual formula is given in the 3 verses before the Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma verses. So sometimes people get bewildered and they just refer to Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma while ignoring that the formula is in the previous 3 verses. So this is where we want to realize Lord Krishna's mercy that he bestows on Devashi Nārada. When Devashi Nārada visits all these palaces, and he is able to understand now Lord's inconceivable potencies, his amazing potency as Lord is expanding to 16,108. So now he is not so surprised that how Lord could easily expand in rasa dance. That was just for one night. Lord expanded himself. As many gopis were there, he expanded into those many forms. Yet he was also in the center, playing on his flute and singing. So these are the amazing glories of Lord Shri Krishna, where he is showing us how to be a Grihastha. And we learn how to be a Grihastha from his example itself. And Grihastha is one who is situated in a household scenario, while Grihini is one who is the owner of the house. Yet at the same time, Vaishnava, Grihastha and Grihini, they basically look at this particular perspective that Lord Krishna, Shri Radha Krishna, they are the true proprietors, and people in Grihasthashram, husband, wife and children, they are all engaged in serving Shri Radha Krishna with love, devotion, gratitude, and following the principles which have been laid out in the formula for elevating to self-realization. And all this starts simply with the chanting of the holy name with love and devotion. Just by raising our hands and calling out to the Lordship. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Please join us for Nrsimhadev prayers. Gantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Anant Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai.
Namaste शिव सिंह देव भगवान की जय, प्रहलाद महाराज की जय, श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय, अनंत गौरी वैष्णव वृंद की जय। हरे कृष्णा।